Bitcoin plays out a quick correction back down below $70,000 for a split second. And the question of the day is a new statistical probabilistic model emerging, suggesting that Bitcoin does continue upwards and onwards from here? Well, that is the topic of today, and also some long-term price predictions. But first things first, we have a major piece of news from our good friend, the Lil Bubble.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor.
Oh my God! Oh my God! How can you say that, sir? Don't you know you're going to piss off the 5 million euro poors that live in Finland? That is absolutely terrible. Anyway, let's move on to chart before we get in any more trouble right here. Beautiful music in the background. Jesus Christ.
There's a name for them. We call them poor.
Okay, that's enough. All right, first things first. I do want to address a new setup emerging. It's actually pretty much the same setup that we did look at just about a week ago, which fired off on the 6th of March and was resolved on Bitcoin's move to $70,000. And a new one has emerged right here. It's a 4-hour time frame setup. It is based off of the VMP indicator. Essentially, whenever volatility gets extremely low, and there is an uptrend on the 4-hour time frame, plus actually just 4-hour time frame in this case, then it has led to these results, as you can see right here over the full history of Bitcoin. It has produced a win rate of just over 50%, but you can see that even with basically as good of a coin toss probability, it has produced some nice net gains over time after 621 closed trades in the past literal 14 years. So since the dawn of time for Bitcoin. So a good example of how, decent risk management can keep you safe even when the strategy, at least in my opinion, has a lower hit rate. And typically that is kind of the give and go when it comes to strategy statistics, is that you can go for a higher win rate, but your average wins probably be lower. And of course, as that relationship goes down, well, typically the average winning trade goes up. Anyways, in the performance summary right here, I do want to check out what the average winning trade is for this particular one, and it is just over 7%. So I did make a slight change to this one compared to the last one that we did see, but I thought that it was rather interesting. And of course, when we go to the actual charts, we can see what that would look like on top of price action, as this one has officially fired off as of the last 4-hour closure, and that would imply, if it does play out around the average, which is of course a bit of a stretch. We do expect some sort of variance in these results, but an average is an average, of course. And 7% would put Bitcoin basically just around $77,000 price per Bitcoin of highly poor fiat currency. So with that in mind, of course, we should also check out the other side as well. What is the average loss is also of relevance here, because, when you do have a 50% probability, that is not a 100% certainty of a winning trade, obviously. 4.5% almost, as we can see on average for the losing trades. And I do think that I actually have a blind, maybe not a blind stop loss, but a stop loss by percentage at 5% on this one. Yeah, stop loss at 5%. And we can see, from the entry, 5% down would put Bitcoin where? Would put Bitcoin basically back down around yesterday's low. So what is that essentially to say? Well, if you're looking at this as a setup, then anywhere below yesterday's low, probably going to be a loss. Very, very likely to be a loss, I would say. And also likely indicative of a greater correction to come. But with the way that Bitcoin did bounce off of that level, 68,500, this just looks like a continuation of the trend. The trend is up, and the trend could be your friend. It might be your very best friend if you just let it be. If you take your fucking nutsack off of the buzzsaw chopping block, well, in many cases the trend keeps you safe. I mean, it's been pretty simple, especially since January right here on this current one to the upside. Of course, it's not going to be perfect over time, and at some point there will be a reversal, obviously, and it'll be a very, very nasty and volatile and take no prisoners reversal as well. But until that happens, trends are more likely to continue than not. Anyways, in this case, what is the average amount of time taken on these? let's see, the average amount of time in the winning trades, 18 bars, and in losing trades, 14 bars. So what would that be on a 4-hour time frame? I'm just going to do it out right here because I don't want to do that mental math right now. That would be basically around Friday on the winning side, and probably like Thursday-ish on the losing side if that one does play out to those averages. I also want to let you know that, of course, this tool right here, the Skeleton Key External, is a part of the Krown Quant automation features. It is our service that I've been heavily shilling since the past couple weeks now because it is on sale for 35%, which is the biggest sale that we'll have ever for this one. As we do move over to the new platform, I'll write out the coupon code right here. It's just happy 6 year. Again, no pressure, of course, if this is not for you, if you're not looking for, if you're basically not looking to be a slave owner, but that's also what we call poor. And I couldn't help myself, okay? Choose rich, don't choose poor, choose your damn slaves. No, kidding, okay? Slavery is illegal, except for bots, and this is a bot. Anyways, my point is that not for everyone is algorithmic trading. And of course, the results will only ever be as good as the programmer itself. And while I do give out my own strategy templates, which you can iterate off of, at the end of the day, it will require some input from your own self. And naturally, you will have your own preferences as a trader, which you can, play around with here. And you can basically make any strategy that you want with any sort of indicators that you have access to on TradingView, as this allows for a tremendous amount of functionality, which I won't go through now. You can check out the videos for that if you're interested in such things. So, okay, cool. Now that we've gone through that, let's get into the HPDR bands, and we can see for the daily, Bitcoin did spike down perfectly to the bottom side of the range low yesterday. Actually, the 50%, it wasn't necessarily the range low, but it was the 50% range high right here, bouncing off that just about perfectly, and maintaining, barely a loss on the day, realistically. So in this case, I'd be looking at kind of the same thing right here. As long as Bitcoin is closing above this 50% range high, which is now coming up all the way from yesterday's just under $69,000 to just over $71,000, I would be looking at that as indicative of likely sideways and upside for Bitcoin implied. Again, with this setup over here, given a slight favor, a slight edge, a slightly higher probability. If you also can't say the word, you probably shouldn't be using it. And that's for me, man. But in this case, a slightly higher probability of upside continuation here in a more serious tone. So that also does imply that if you do see a daily closure below $71,000, likely indicative of a greater move to the south side implied. And then, of course, I'd say anywhere below yesterday's low, even a tick below yesterday's low would be definitely good enough for me to at least be looking for a return back down to the median on the daily HPDR bands, which is actually all the way at $67,000 as of right now. Sorry, a little bit below $67,000. So as always, need to have invalidations for the other side, or just, at what price point would the whole picture start to turn around? That would be it for me. Until then, upside is more likely as a trend. The trend could be your friend. And I'm hoping to make it my friend as well. Top side of the 61.8 level right here is 73,250. And if we do start to see closures above there, which is basically just any sort of closures above yesterday and the day prior's wick high, very likely we do see that next move up to the next range high, which is 78.6 level. And guess where the fuck that is? If you were listening to the prior slide, to the prior chart, you might have an idea. Man, I'm coming off like a massive fucking asshole right now. I apologize. Look, $77,000. So I do like the confluence right there in a more serious tone. Doesn't mean that things are going to absolutely 100% get there, but I do notice that a lot of the time when you do see, especially the 61.8 level taken, a lot of the time you will get a free ride to the next high. Not always, but very, very often, or at least in the middle of this region right here, which actually would be $75,000, which, again, I understand that this rally does sound crazy, and it looks crazy to me as well. No doubt about it. It is a parabolic rally by definition. It is a very, very impressive, explosive rally. But if there's anything that I've learned from past market cycles, especially in cryptocurrency land, when the train is moving, get out of the way of the train and just wait until there is like a real signal of reversal. Real signals of reversal, like I said, at least for myself, would be anywhere below yesterday's low or a daily closure below about $71,000. That would start to indicate at least a short-term reversal, perhaps leading into a medium-term reversal. But until then, upside still more likely. I also want to address something. Should we even get into this right now? Maybe I'll actually say this. Maybe I'll actually save that for tomorrow's video, just because we've already gotten through a lot today. Maybe we can just briefly check out some daily statistics and then also stochastic momentum. I was going to go over forwards price projections, but that's going to take a little more time, and I want this video to be more on the digestible side because I've gotten many complaints for the lengths of the video as of late. Fair enough. I understand people don't got time for that. Anyways, daily time frame right here. Stochastic momentum remains to the upside in the extreme critical zone as long as Bitcoin's above 71,500. Fucking insane. Fucking crazy. Again, when we start to see this come back down below the critical zone, below the 80 read, that is also going to be a good signal of correction, big correction incoming. Until then, it can stay in the critical zone for a while, and it has certainly been there for a while. I mean, it's basically been there since beginning of February, so it's been about a month and a half now. On top of that, if we go over here, let's go and check out our daily statistics, and let's see what Wednesday typically has been like for the whoops, I literally went to the wrong chart, but I might as well address this while we're here as well. I'm sure. Yeah, there is going to be bearish divergence building on the daily time frame at some point, but again, that in order to confirm divergence, we need to confirm like to like, and in this case, it'd have to be a local high to local high, and as long as you're above yesterday's low, there's just not really that. At some point, yes, it will be an issue, and yes, that will generate targets lower, probably into the mid to low 60s if it were to happen at current rate, but as long as it's continuing here, that number is going to rise up naturally over time. Now let me find the damn daily statistics. Where is it? Where are you, you motherfucker? I found you, you bastard. Haha. Anyways, daily statistics right here for Wednesday. Eerily similar to actually the setup that we just saw over here, just over 52%. This one's 52.5%. This one is 52.08. Average return for the positive days on Wednesday over the past little over a year now, a year and 3 months, has been about a little over 2.5%, and on the negative days, losing 1.69%. Let's see what that would look like as well if it does play out towards those averages, although these have kind of been playing opposites recently, especially on Tuesdays. That typically is our most bullish day, and the last couple of Tuesdays have not been upside. And Thursday has been opposite as well. Usually downside, but in this case has been upside. 2.5% to the upside puts Bitcoin on new highs, 73,250 or so. To the downside, if we were to see this one play out, 169 would put Bitcoin actually just over $70,000. So fair enough right there. All right, cool. I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. I do want to let you know that we still have our sale going on until the end of this month with that same code that I spit out over here for all of the other products and services that we do have. As always, I never want to pressure anyone into these sort of things. I really despise high pressure sales tactics. I do, however, encourage poor sales tactics and slavery sales. Kidding? Okay, fucking kidding. But in more serious tone, make sure that you watch the promotional videos. They explain, what to expect in that program, who it's for, who it's not for. There's also a lot written on the website in the description below as well. So that'll likely answer your questions. And a good rule of thumb, at least in my opinion, with any one of these services or products is that, hey, if you're on the fence, it's probably not a good fit. If you're not like, holy shit, I understand the value of this and I really want to get in, I would say just wait. It's all good. And if you change your mind later, it's not like it's going to be changing that much anyways. And we'll have a sale at some point later as well too. All right, cool. And it only works on Teachable because that is the only venue that we have now as well. And also for anyone dealing with our lovely support service, which is actually just Elsa now, please be nice to her. Please be nice to her and allow, I would say up to actually 48 hours at this time because she's actually quite busy to get service. But usually faster than that. All right, sweet. I'll end things right there. As always, wish you the best on this nice little fun day. Apologies for the bad-natured jokes, but it is what it is. Just having fun during these times. And I hope that you're having fun as well. With that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.